using to show a new video in which Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem blames Democrats for the government shutdown. We'll discuss this and more today's top stories. I'm Frank Billingsley.
And I'm Celeste Diaz-Sherman. We'll also be joined by University of Houston political science professor and party politics co-host Brandon Rottinghaus, who will break down the upcoming election.
Plus, we want to hear from you. What are your thoughts, comments, or questions? You can let us know by calling or texting us at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org.
You can also watch us on YouTube by going to houstonpublicmedia.org.
All this and more right here on Hello Houston after the news from NPR and News 88.7.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News, I'm Lakshmi Singh. A measure to reopen the government has failed to clear a 10th vote in the U.S. Senate. Republicans were unable to overcome Democratic opposition to the short-term spending bill. The government's been shut down now for more than 2 weeks. Republicans are fighting Democrats' demands to restore health care protections involving soon-to-expire pandemic-era subsidies for millions of low- and middle-income households and a rollback on Medicaid cuts. As the shutdown drags on, food banks and other groups that serve military families are seeing a surge of new clients. From member station WHRO in Norfolk, Virginia, Steve Walsh reports.
Armed Services YMCA operates 22 food banks near military installations. They have seen a 30% jump in demand in the last couple of weeks. Pantries have had to close early for the day because they have run out of food, says Doreen Ocam with the group.
I mean, that's the reality of the fact, is there are more people than there is food today.
Groups that provide emergency loans to troops have also seen a surge. Even though troops did not miss a paycheck, anxiety over the possibility is forcing cutbacks. Dawn Cutler with the Navy Marine Corps Relief Society points out that many military spouses have also been furloughed, cutting household income. For NPR News, I'm Steve Walsh.
The political impasse is delaying another key economic report. NPR's Scott Horsley reports economists are looking for other clues about the strength of consumer spending.
The Commerce Department's report on retail sales for September is delayed. As with other key data points, it's been sidetracked by the government shutdown. A collection of anecdotal reports released by the Federal Reserve this week suggests consumer spending has been inching down, but spending by high-income households remains strong. Fed Governor Chris Waller says upper-income households are less affected by rising prices and a softening job market. Waller and his colleagues appear to be on track for another quarter-point cut in interest rates at the next Fed meeting in about 2 weeks. Scott Horsley, NPR News, Washington.
The president of Venezuela is urging Americans to reject any aggression against his country. Here's NPR's Ada Peralta.
Speaking to reporters, President Trump said the U.S. controls the sea, and they are now looking to strike land. The U.S. has deployed a destroyer and a cruiser, as well as some 10,000 U.S. troops to the Caribbean, saying they want to stop drugs from flowing north. In a speech in Caracas, Venezuelan President Nicolás Maduro said the U.S. was vilifying Venezuela in an attempt to topple his government. He called on the American public to reject aggression, saying the region didn't need a return of a swashbuckling American empire.
No a la guerra del Caribe.
Say no to war in the Caribbean and in South America. Say yes to peace, Maduro said. Ada Peralta, NPR News, Mexico City.
It's NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Alexandra Hart. The latest poll on the upcoming special election in Texas's 18th Congressional District shows Harris County Attorney Christian Menefee in the lead, followed by former Houston City Council member Amanda Edwards and State Representative Jolanda Jones. All three are Democrats. Mark Jones co-authored the survey for the University of Houston's Hobby School of Public Affairs.
What was somewhat noteworthy is that Jolanda Jones trails and is clearly in a second-tier category compared to Menefee and Edwards. That is, it's not really a three-candidate race right now. It's a two-candidate race.
The strongest polling Republican, Carmen Maria Montiel, placed a distant fourth. The Houston City Council took the first step toward closing Polk Street yesterday, granting preliminary approval for the sale of the thoroughfare between the East End and downtown to the Houston First Corporation. While not finalized, the city also attached strings to the sale by approving a binding agreement with Houston First for a range of items. One of them is studying the conversion of nearby Leland Street into a two-way road in an effort to preserve east-west connectivity. Houston First CEO Michael Heckman says the feasibility of that project is still being studied, and he wouldn't guarantee the outcome.
I don't want to prejudge things that come back. It is our intention, I'll be very clear, it is our intention to turn Leland into a two-way, and that is what we are working every day with Public Works in the city for that outcome.
The plan calls for Polk Street to close later this month. A Pride event at Typhoon Texas Water Park in Katy has been canceled by the venue just days before it was set to take place. In a press release, Katy Pride's organizers say they are being forced to relocate, with the water parks citing safety concerns over the event. This comes after social media posts by locals, including some Katy ISD school board members, criticized the park for hosting the event. Christina Shackelford, the Pride Celebrations director, said in an email that there were no credible threats to the event, but one, quote, peaceful, lawful protest was planned. The event is now set to take place at First Christian Church, Katy. I'm Alexandra Hart, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from NPR stations. Other contributors include Fisher Investments. Fisher's dedicated team of specialists provide resources on investing, retirement income, estate planning, and more. Learn more at FisherInvestments.com. Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Live from the University of Houston, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. Now here's your host for Hello Houston, Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Hello.
You know what I decided today?
What?
I decided that Congress could learn a lot from Celeste and me.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
We had a disagreement this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I was there.
I think everyone knows we did.
I'm the Supreme Court.
Yeah. But we saw each other and we said, do we need to talk? And we said yes. And we went and we talked. And we both saw the error in our ways and the good in what we were saying.
Yes.
And we came together. And it made me think, wow, that's what Washington needs. They need to be able to stop, take a breath, and say, listen, we need to talk to solve the shutdown, to solve the problems we're having in this country, and really come together stronger and better. There's my kumbaya moment.
But you know, okay, so then it'd be the question I think we have to ask ourselves is, should our elected officials then be allowed to go to lunch with each other, not as elected officials? Because
Absolutely.
you and I have rapport outside of work where we know about each other's lives and we respect each other and we share. So there's a level of humanity that we have commonality in.
Yeah, this division and the political level has gotten so strong. And if you're seen with someone of the other party.
Right. So what would happen, right, if we started seeing, very right Republican and very, AOC going to lunch with, Ken Paxton?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, not the same,
right, but
you know
I
what
know
I
what
mean.
you're saying. So, yeah, I think we should encourage that. You know what I would love to do is bring on one of our Democratic Congresspeople and one of our Republican Congresspeople and let them talk about their differences here so people can hear and understand both points of view. And in an arena like this, maybe they would say, I see the point you're making. I think this. And then they could say, okay, I see that. Well, what if we met here? But I don't think that happened. Am I being too idealistic
And the
right
way
now?
it would have to happen, though, is we would have to bring in maybe one of our festivals who brings us food.
Oh, and
we'd
give them
put
some food too.
Feed them.
So we'd be eating and discussing, and then we could get somewhere.
Well, I have a funny feeling our producer's saying, what are those people talking about out there? That's not what we said we were talking about.
Jim's looking at me
He's like, wrap it up, people.
I was just ready to talk about the weather. So.
Oh, right. Well, then let's get on to what we usually
So if you're
talk
watching
about.
us on YouTube, you'd see me making the signal that we get all the time.
Yes, wrap it
up. Wrap it up.
But we don't want to wrap up this weather.
Oh, another day like yesterday, by the time we get to tomorrow, a front is in the state. It'll be through here Sunday morning. So Saturday could be a little dicey with showers. And even tomorrow, showers and thunderstorms. Just this pull of moisture off the Gulf as the front starts to approach. I don't think the front itself is going to bring a whole lot of action, but it'll cool us down for a beautiful Sunday.
Yeah.
So Sunday's a day to watch for the weekend.
I was walking to my car the other day, and I was walking with one of our coworkers, and I said, doesn't it just feel like fall? And she looked at me and she goes, well, yeah, you can smell it.
Smell it.
Yeah. I never understood that concept of you can smell rain. I always thought pavement smells funny when it gets wet. And then so it's like, no, that's rain.
Well, you get a lot of nitrogen and good ash out of the sky.
See, you can always teach an old dog new tricks. This old dog is learning them. We were talking politics. Coming up on the show, Brandon Rottinghaus is going to join us. There's so much going on nationally, statewide, locally. We thought we need just to go through some of these topics and help understand. Plus, with an election coming up in just a couple of weeks, what's on that ballot? I know the other day you folks went through some of the propositions. There's more there. We want to look at those. So Brandon's going to be here. But a surprising thing, he and his son started a nonprofit. And it's really a beautiful idea behind it.
It's a beautiful idea.
It's called Yalloween, like Halloween, but Yalloween.
Yalloween.
So we'll be talking about that too. That's still to come in the show today, but there is still news going on in the world around us. Celeste, what's happening?
There is a lot. Several Texas airports have refused to show a new video at TSA checkpoints in which Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem blames congressional Democrats for the federal government shutdown. Typically, airports display apolitical service videos from DHS officials. This one differs. It opens by outlining TSA priorities, but ends with Noem saying, quote, Democrats in Congress refuse to fund the federal government. Many of our operations are impacted. Most of our TSA employees are working without pay. Airports, including DFW and Love Field, say they declined to air it because their existing policies bar political or issue-oriented content. Some others, like Austin, say their security terminals simply lack video monitors. Behind this refusal lies a tension between official messaging and local rules on political neutrality, especially in high visible public spaces like airport checkpoints. It's unclear whether Houston's two major airports are displaying the video. Now is the time to join us on Hello Houston. Should the video be played or not? Give us a call or send us a text, 713-440-8870.
Well, it's a video that squarely blames the Democrats for all the problems that you might encounter at the airport. And you should be nice to the TSA workers because they may not be getting paid. And it's the Democrats' fault. It's a piece of propaganda. It more than likely violates the Hatch Act of 1939, which disallows this kind of activity from someone that's in her position.
Correct.
But even if it does, I mean, Kellyanne Conway violated it all the time anyway. And President Trump said, no, that's okay. So the only person that can punish Kristi Noem for violating the Hatch Act is President Trump.
Right.
That's not likely to happen.
And the Hatch Act bars federal employees, including cabinet secretaries, from engaging in political activity while acting in their official role.
Capacity, yes.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where I think that regardless, Republican or Democrat, it's political messaging. I would hope that our Homeland Security Secretary would be above political rhetoric and would simply be out there looking
You would hope that, wouldn't you?
For, all, Americans not playing into it. Right? Doing her job at another level, at above the politics and more looking at this from her official capacity as, being an executive within our executive branch.
Over on YouTube, Nick is saying it's state propaganda and should not be shown. The ability to put a message when you are the head of that agency is there. It's the message and the way they're choosing to use it, which is the problem. And I don't want to get into the legality of it. I just think it's enough. I think we as a people, like we were just talking about, enough blaming, enough trying to cause issue. We've seen so much negative behavior in our communities at large.
But that's the trick.
Right.
That's the trick. Just keep it coming. Keep
doing
it.
it.
Keep these topics we talk about
it?
every day. Just keep them coming so that we're all exhausted by it.
Right.
And we get to the midterms, we just say, whatever, I'm not going to vote anymore. You know, we just go.
Well, it's a strategy, right? The
It is.
flood the zone strategy.
Yeah. And by the way, we said Texas airports, but it's almost all the major airports.
Yeah.
I think they're saying until we get a definitive ruling on whether it's a violation of the Hatch Act or not, and I don't know who's supposed to rule on this, but until they get it, that's what they're hiding behind. They're standing behind. They're saying, until we definitely know for sure whether it's legal, we're not going to play it. Now, if it comes down that it's perfectly fine and there's no legality problem, then they may be forced in some ways. Now, Hobby as well as Ellington and Bush are all owned by the city of Houston. We own those airports. Our city does. So they don't have to do whatever they don't want to do. And I don't know if that's a city council discussion, but the city of Houston owns them.
Yeah.
Well, the irony of it all is in the attempt to say is this wrong? The attempt to ask that question, should people be exposed to this video? They're showing it all the time on the news and everywhere you look. I haven't been in an airport in Lord knows how long, and I could probably recite that video now. I've seen it so many times. So actually, they achieved what they wanted to achieve. They got that messaging out there, even without people attending the airport and waiting in those lines.
I can't recall being in an airport line and seeing a TV up there.
I don't remember necessarily an airport line, but oftentimes when you're sitting at the gate right before you're boarding, there are
CNN
screens.
International.
They have.
They show like the Weather Channel
and
and
it's
stuff.
usually exactly. It's usually something very neutral, like the Weather Channel. Because think about this: airports and traveling for a lot of people is very stressful. You're trying to make it. There's flights changing, delays. It's already stressful as it is. I'm not sure we want to necessarily be putting out political messaging that, there are people that really look to this administration. And when President Biden was in office, there were people that are really very, very closely follow what these administrations, our presidents say, and that could rile people up.
Well, Alex Garza comments on YouTube, Houston airports should show Hello Houston instead.
Oh,
because we never rile anyone.
No,
because
we have permission.
We're so neutral because we don't rile people up. Thank you,
Idea.
Alex.
Sometimes we do.
Yeah, if you have a thought
often.
on this.
I would say often we
often
do.
we rile people
There's
up.
no T in often.
Often.
Thank you.
Thank you.
713-440-8870 if you would like to chime in on that. Okay. Speaking of chiming in on things, here we go. If you're under 18 on Instagram, the content you see is about to change, and maybe in a big way. Starting soon, Instagram says all teen accounts will default to PG-13 standard, meaning much stronger filters on posts with sexual content, drug references, risky stunts, or even harsh language. Even search terms like gore or alcohol may be blocked. According accounts that routinely post 18-plus content or have questionable usernames might be hidden entirely from teens, even if teens already follow them. You may lose some of the people you follow. To opt out of this 13-plus setting, teens will now need parental permission. The idea, build a safer, more age-appropriate experience by putting more guardrails on what teens can see and interact with online. So, what do you think of these Instagram changes? Will this actually stop teens from accessing adult material? That's my favorite part of the question. 713-440-8870. Celeste and I were just talking about this in your office yesterday. You can try all the blocking you want. Our teens are smart. They're going to find that content. It's out there. It's better to educate them about understanding what they're seeing and what to look away from
100%.
when possible.
Yes, you're absolutely right, but I do think we're moving in the right direction. We need guardrails, and everywhere else, we are constantly looking at how to regulate and better for our children. Absolutely. I think we're moving in the right direction. It's the same thing as putting a lock on your door. Yeah. If somebody wants to break in, they'll still break in somehow.
Right, but we still
lock our door.
Instagram doesn't know how old I am. How does
we
Instagram,
all know, Frank.
Well, I know. I mean, the Medicare knows how old I am. But, how does Instagram even know how old you are?
They were talking about, if I've got this correct, an AI profiling thing that looks at how you respond, what you respond, who you're friends with, connect your other, because you're also connected through Facebook now with Instagram. And so through all of that, they can...
Okay, so so now they say, okay, go and get your mom's permission. What does that look like?
I think you also put a date of birth in.
You put a date of birth in.
Okay, fine. So they know I'm 15, and now what are they supposed to do? Say, go tell your mom.
It's the same thing, for example, as an adult. Sometimes there's things that are blurred out on my Instagram that says this is sensitive content.
Right.
And so I think probably you're going to start seeing a lot more of that. And if you want to click on it, you're going to have some type of parental control. It's the same thing with YouTube Kids. Whenever you're doing, or Netflix, there's a lot of
you can put parental blocks on things. Also, the state of Texas is a little different from a lot of states. We have a block on questionable material, pornography particularly, that now you need to age verify to go into those. But I don't know that it's a complete sweep and that they have really blocked all pornography in the state of Texas online. But it was passed. And so in states like Texas, you have to age identify.
Well,
there's certain services, age verifiers and stuff.
But it becomes interesting for this Instagram thing. Do you now have to prove that you're older than 18?
Probably.
Are you like proving a negative here? I mean, what?
They also have AI things I've seen. I don't know if you folks have seen it, where you have to take a picture of your face and it looks at your face and determines your age.
Oh, gosh.
It looks at me and it says, oh, yeah, you have free access. Go wherever you want while you have time left.
If you go to like a alcohol website, you have to input your age. I mean, you can.
Well, it says that we're getting a note here that to complete your Instagram profile, when signing up, you have to give your age. But does it say you have to give your correct age?
Right.
Do you have to upload your driver's license?
People may lie online?
No.
Is that ever? No. And I think to go back to Celeste's point, no, it's not a perfect fix. But you know what? It's going to pull back some of the concern for some parents. It's going to limit some access. Some kids aren't going to put in fake things. Some kids are just going to still go on Instagram and use it for fun for themselves at their age level and don't care to need that.
For our PTO, our parent-teacher organization, we had a speaker come in last year and talk about online. And everybody here, we now know, it's very widely known, online safety. And one of the things during this conversation that I found out is that there was a fifth grader at our school that had like 27 different Instagram accounts.
That fascinates me. Yeah. When they have all those accounts.
So it's going to be interesting. Now, that's not probably every kid.
Right. I think the average kid is going on. And what do I know of the average kid? But I assume, they're going on for what they want to see in their friends and the stuff that they're interested in at their age for the most part. And then there's those who are curious about the other things in life, and they're going to find it anyway.
But also nowadays, if you're going to college, you will have an online cohort on Instagram or Facebook where you're getting all of your up-to-dates on those things. So in many ways, you can't not have it.
We're curious what you think. Share with us. Remember, you can text us 713-440-8870, or you can email us or join us in our YouTube chat. Let's go to a call. It takes us back to our TSA question, and this is Chris from Willow Meadow. Chris, what's on your mind?
I'm just curious. When did being a public servant mean you're a Donald Trump servant? The idea, where's bipartisanship? Where's the idea that Donald Trump works for the American people, not for himself? And same with Malibu, Camouflage Barbie, and all of that. Why aren't we thinking about the public good instead of drawing this line between people who oppose Trump and people who support Trump? Mm-hmm. That this is an anathema to the American system. I grew up a liberal Republican, and this is just nonsense. It's insane.
Yeah, you'll talk to a number of Republicans who will say, we're still Republicans, we're not Trumpers, that there's a difference there. Mm-hmm. So there is division even there. But I do believe you'll find a group of people who are like, Trump is cleaning up the things he said he would do, and we're all in on it. And this is just making things better for people to understand what's really happening in the world. So, you'll find it on both sides. But boy, oh boy, I wish we could get back to civility in the middle like you're talking about, Chris.
Speaking of both sides, even if I was sitting watching a video and this was a Democratic, administration. I still would not want to see that.
No.
Yeah. We had a text that came in where somebody referred to Kristi Noem was cast as Trump's reality TV star, not a public servant. Kind of falling in line a little bit with what Chris was saying about the idea of, when did we move away from public servants as public servants there to do the job?
Yeah. Here's an interesting YouTube comment from Alex about the other story regarding Instagram. Why aren't we addressing the questionable content being uploaded, the people uploading the content?
Mm-hmm. And I think they are. They said that they would go over accounts that have questionable names and that imply that stuff. So
doesn't a lot of stuff come from other countries that goes into American social media?
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know how you would control some of that.
Right. That goes back to where Celeste and I started this, in that, we can try all these and good for trying to keep our kids innocent as long as we can. I'm all for that. But it also has to be, you can't depend on everything outside of your family to correct this stuff. We're in a world where it's very hard. So you've got to have that conversation with your children.
And today it's not about if your child is going to encounter this, it's when. And that's the reality. Is it's when is it going to happen, and when should those conversations start? And it starts very early on.
I don't know about you guys, but when I was young, it all came down from the college kids to the high school kids to the junior high kids to the elementary kids. It all started about fifth grade. Is when we started to want to be older and learning about older things
and the pornographers and the
Anyway,
well, Alex Garza did post a good question. I don't know, did we cover this already? Where he says, why? Okay. Yep.
But anyway, we're going to take a break.
Yes, we are. We are going to take a break. And coming up on Hello Houston, Party Politics host and professor of political science at the University of Houston, Brandon Rottinghaus, one of our favorites. We'll break down the upcoming election and take your questions. This is News 88.7.
You know what? You've probably heard this. There is no federal funding. Not anymore. We are 100% funded by the community. That means you. So why are you here? It's because of the programming you want to hear. It's because of what we're delivering. In today's day and age, we're giving you stories that you can think about, you can learn from, you can move through. So right now, we ask you that you make your gift to support this kind of organization at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
Today's Meals Day. Have you heard of this?
Meals Day. Tell me about it.
Yeah, you can help feed local homebound seniors in Greater Houston. I'm not homebound yet, but I can appreciate this. It's made possible because of you and our partnership with Interfaith Ministry Meals on Wheels. I love that group. You and I were part of their recent, February, we were part of their luncheon?
Yeah, and I'm going to be doing their gala in November 1st for Interfaith Ministries. It's a wonderful organization, and right now your gift can go 2 times further by reaching out to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or calling 888-909-0887. And when you give, you are also providing food for people in need in our community.
Yeah. And that's right. And the community fully powers this station. So that's different for us. But your unwavering support has been the same. And thank you. Make your gift right now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
We need to hear from you, and your support is exactly what we need in this moment. And we're here for you. We listen to you. We share with you. In all of these sentences, you is the most important word. Yeah. And right now we are asking you to become a member. You're the reason we're here and why we do the work, and we do it for you, your family, your community, and you appreciate it. Show that appreciation right now by going to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
And as we said, it's Meals Day, which is wonderful, part of Interfaith Ministries. So you can bring people together with this one act of kindness. When you make your donation today, you can select meals. So you go to houstonpublicmedia.org/donate and you select meals as your thank you gift. And then Interfaith Ministry Meals on Wheels will deliver hot meals to homebound seniors who need them. So again, houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or 888-909-0887.
And this newsroom doesn't just report on Greater Houston. We live in this city. A lot of the issues that we bring forward are issues that we ourselves are experiencing facing just like you. And that's why we show up during hurricanes, during floods, during breaking news, because you are relying on Houston Public Media for vital information. Support the mission at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
I'm Reid Hoffman.
And I'm Aria Finger, and we host.
Want to binge All Creatures Great and Small, catch up on Nova, or revisit Ken Burns' documentaries? You can with PBS Passport. With a gift of $5 or more per month to Houston Public Media, you'll get access to PBS Passport that lets you watch your favorite programs anytime you want. Support the programs you love and enjoy them on your own schedule with PBS Passport. Make your gift now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
Entirely on support from you, its Community Hello Houston brings insight, energy, and context, but only because of your support.
We're 100% community funded. That means no ads, no shareholders, just honest conversations that reflect what's happening in Greater Houston.
Keep public media at the forefront of your community. This is your moment to act.
Please give now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
Houston Matters wants to hear from you about story or guest ideas for future programs, or pet care or gardening questions you'd like us to tackle when those subjects come up each month on the show. Or maybe you have suggestions for how we can improve the program and provide a better public service. Reach out anytime at talk@houstonmatters.org. I'm Craig Cohen. Join us for the next Houston Matters, weekday mornings at 9 here on News 88.7.
And now back to Hello Houston. Join the conversation. Call now, 713-440-8870, or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now here's Ernie Manous, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
With the federal government shut down continuing, a high-stakes congressional race heating up, and a critical ballot proposition facing voters in Harris County this November, there's a lot to unpack in the world of politics. To help us take a closer look at the race for Texas' 18th Congressional District, the propositions on the local ballots, and to talk about what early voting means for turnout in the Houston area, we're joined by Brandon Rottinghaus, professor of political science at the University of Houston. Hello there, Brandon.
Hey, Ernie, how are you?
We're doing great. If folks want to call in and ask your opinion on any of these topics or just get it more clarified, they can call us, 713-440-8870. Okay, where would you like to begin with this? It is a crazy world we're living in.
Brandon. Huh?
It's only been busy for the last decade or so, Celeste, so we're catching up, I think, to a calm period here.
Let's start big, the shutdown. Where are we at? What are you thinking? There's been mischaracterized comments by the Speaker of the House basically saying he thinks it's going to go till Thanksgiving. I think that was taken a little out of context, but where are we at with all that?
Well, we're still in a bit of a holding pattern. Obviously, there's brinksmanship happening on both sides, and the kind of three-dimensional chess match continues. This week, today, in fact, the Senate failed to pass a GOP budget again. The vote basically, as we've seen the last couple of times, it didn't pass, so it's a kind of stalemate. But the
Let me pause
Republicans
you right there
are hoping...
and ask you really quickly, why do they keep having the same vote? They don't have the votes to pass it. What are they trying to say by doing this?
Yeah, it's a great question. Really, what the Republicans are trying to do is to bind the Democrats by making them continuously vote on this so that, it's a campaign messaging reminder that when it comes to re-election, that if there's a kind of negative effect of the shutdown, then Democrats can be blamed for it, to say candidate X voted 10 times to not reopen the federal budget. So there is this kind of, I think, campaign element of this. The Republicans are taking this even a step farther. They're basically ratcheting up some of that attention by having a separate procedural vote on a full year defense spending bill. The kind of hardball politics of this is that Republicans hope that Democrats will not choose to to not vote on this. And so they'll basically have to take a stand and vote on defense spending, which would otherwise be pretty unpopular if it didn't pass. So there are elements here where we're seeing Republicans and Democrats ratchet up that fight. There are moments where you can see a glimmer of hope. The Democrats are leveraging the moment to try to get Obamacare subsidies. Republicans say that they'll let that happen as a separate vote after the government reopens, but Democrats don't believe them, and they're also throwing onto this whole mix the need to be able to return the federal workers who were fired during this period. So there's a lot at stake.
Do you believe them?
I think that this has been a way that in the past we've seen these shutdowns resolved, that all the parties want to see it finished at some point, and they're willing to at least have a vote on the things that the parties are interested in. So I think that's probably something they're willing to do. But now you've got this added element where the president is firing people, this reductions in force of federal employees, and that is another chip here that is a problematic element for Republicans who want to bargain with Democrats on a very clean spending bill, and Democrats are saying, well, you're not really pursuing a clean spending bill because there are all these other contingencies happening during the shutdown.
Well, there's some people that have said, if they're furloughed and we're finding out we don't really need them, so fire them.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of what the Republicans are hoping. And certainly the president has been very vocal about wanting to reduce government. Whether it has an effect on people's lives, I think is still kind of to be seen. This has a real lagged effect. And whether it matters to people locally will, of course, just, I think, take some time.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that the shutdown is a major problem when we're looking at what is actually going on? Or do you think this is a minor issue and that, we're going to move along and it's going to be status quo once we go back to, back up and running?
I think that the shutdown will definitely have some lingering effects. We've seen in past shutdowns that it takes a while for things to get back to normal. So obviously the kind of delays in terms of interactions with government are going to have to catch back up. You've also got this delay that is affecting the airlines and airports. So there is a real short-term cost, and the longer-term cost is just kind of getting things back on track. I do think people are starting to notice. I mean, we're in week 2, almost week 3 of this. And so it has, I think, kind of taken its toll on people. And that's really what shutdowns do. That's how they end, is that the pressure on members of Congress to be able to resolve this more quickly continues to build.
Well, you mentioned airports, and we were just talking about the whole video message from Kristi Noem. First of all, what do you think? Do you think it's a violation of the Hatch Act for her to do that, whether it matters or not? And secondly, are we going to see more of this throwing down the gauntlet from the administration when it comes to, your mail's not being delivered because of the Democrats. You're not getting gasoline at your gas station because of the Democrats. On and on and on.
Yeah, I actually think that there is a case to be made that this violates the Hatch Act, and this isn't the only time that this has happened. The Homeland Security ads that are advertising for ICE agents do much the same. I was literally watching the Astros a few weeks ago. The ad came on, and I thought, oh boy, it's early to run a campaign ad, and it turns out it wasn't. It was an ad for ICE. And so I do think that, the modern advertising world, especially as it's politically motivated, edges into this kind of partisan period and to the ways that the messages become and look very partisan. So I think there's a case to be made that and this do very much look like a kind of partisan approach. Now, as you talked about, some of these airports are deciding not to run it because they do fear that there is this liability. And I think that's something that we're going to see kind of more often. There's a sort of selective, I think, rejection of some of these things. But obviously the Trump administration, the executive has a lot of tools to be able to pressure these entities to run those ads.
Let me, staying with the layoff just for a moment, then we'll move into stuff a little closer to home. A judge blocked the layoffs, was the news we've been hearing. What exactly does that mean? And will that actually stop these people from being laid off? Or if they get that letter, don't go to work, they're not going to work?
It's temporary. Yeah, I think at this point, there's still a lot of things in flux. I think a lot of federal workers are probably pretty frustrated by this whole process. We've had firings and then they've been hired back. There's been reductions in force and they've been ruled unconstitutional. So there is this, I think, kind of real murky period about what's going to happen. But for sure, this district court judge has ruled that the administration isn't following the requirements for conducting a reduction in force. And so it's effectively paused. What the judge made clear was was that she believed that the administration was taking advantage of this moment, this lapse in government spending and government functioning, to be able to do this reduction in force, and that's not allowable by law. So I do think that there's at least a temporary legal injunction on this. But obviously, there's some cracks. Some Democrats or some Republicans are starting to say that they'd very much like to undo these and just to have a kind of real straight up fair fight about it. And I think the problem is that there's a perception that Donald Trump and the Republicans are beginning to own the shutdown. The fight over who is in charge of this and who's responsible is obviously very contested still. But I think that the fact that the Trump administration is using this as a pretext to lay off people makes it, I think, more clearly in their camp and potentially their fault.
We were kind of saying, for me to be on the side of Marjorie Taylor Greene, there are pigs flying somewhere, Brandon, but she's really been called the canary in the coal mine. But to come out and say, we have to own it. We have the White House, we have the Senate, we have the Congress. It's our problem. What do you think about what she's done there?
Yeah, I think that those pigs are ice skating down in Hades as well. But I definitely think that there are going to be these moments where you see certain members of each party who are especially cross-pressured to be able to cross over. Ernie, you mentioned earlier the notion that this is a shutdown that's probably going to last through November, at least some of November. The Thanksgiving deadline is certainly one that people have their eye on because it's a big travel date. But the November 1st deadline is also a big one. And that's when you see Obamacare premiums increase. So I think Democrats are hoping that they can use this calendar moment to be able to leverage the idea that at that point people are getting bigger bills, and then people will really start to be mad, side with Democrats, and that'll give the Democrats leverage.
Brandon, we're also talking a lot when we're looking at the shutdown. A lot of the conversation has been around federal workers and layoffs, but also from a consumer standpoint, people are not spending as much as we're looking at this from an economic standpoint. Do you think that when it comes down to elections, this is going to have any effect on Republicans in regard to small business owners saying, hey, you know what? We stopped seeing people coming into our stores because the government was shut down?
It's a great question. I think complicating a lot of this is that the perceptions of the economy have been extremely partisan. This is something that political scientists for a long time didn't find. That is, that the economy was the economy. People said it was either good or bad, but now people see it through a very partisan lens, and that often means that you might not see kind of the blame put on a particular party who might be responsible because of this partisanship. But I think you're right. I do think that the dragging of the economy, the lack of new jobs is going to start to really catch up. And although you might not see it in economic growth in this quarter, you might see it in the subsequent quarters. And one thing we know for sure that's pretty much like lore in political science is that if you have a slow economy, then it really hurts the incumbent party. So there's a real chance that this drag could definitely hurt Republicans in 2026.
And don't forget the tariffs are still out there hurting small businesses. So this seems like a double dose of economic pain.
There's a lot, I think, still to happen, and it's uncertain. That makes, I think, a lot of politicians really worried, right? They want a very kind of clean, a certain kind of path towards re-election, and many of them are just not sure. So there's a lot of things that are still up in the air.
We are speaking with Brandon Rottinghaus, host of Party Politics, but also a professor of political science at the University of Houston. If you want to join the conversation or have political questions for Brandon, now is the time to get those questions in. 713-440-8870. Okay, let's shift a little closer to home. The 18th Congressional District race. I can't even keep track. How many candidates are in this race right now?
There's at least a dozen, Republicans and Democrats.
What do you think is going to play out there? I guarantee you we're going to a runoff in this.
Yeah, I think your hunch is exactly right. The fact that there are so many candidates is likely to produce a runoff. It typically has. We're seeing certainly a kind of top cycle where some of the candidates are doing slightly better in polls than others. It's pretty much the way it's been since the start. You have Christian Menefee, who's the county attorney in Harris County, and Amanda Edwards, who's a former member of city council, as the top two. Jolanda Jones, who's a member of the Texas House, had done pretty well in polling for a bit, but is lagging behind in third place right now. So the fact that this hasn't been a very negative race, I think, is good. There's a lot more positive, I think, energy on this. And it is a place that hasn't had representation for a long time. And so there's a lot of pent up demand for it. But both top candidates have got high favorables in the 60s. The one, I think, caveat here is that although there is this sort of, evidence that perhaps there's a kind of top two who are likely to advance, 20% of voters are still unsure who they're going to vote for. So with that and probably a low turnout, it could be anybody's ballgame.
Let me just also clarify for people, the redistricting we've talked so much about, what is happening with the 18th? They're right now the old seat, but then when it comes time to reelect, because right now they're just running to finish off Sylvester Turner's seat term, right?
That's exactly right. So this will shift dramatically, assuming that the maps are held to be legal. And so about half the people who are in the current 18th district will no longer be in the future 18th district.
Do you know where that stands?
It's very confusing.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask as well.
Yeah, where does that stand in the El Paso courts? Do you know?
Yeah, the courts have just heard the oral arguments on these cases. They've completed all of the elements that are necessary from the attorneys. Now the judges have to decide. This happened last week in El Paso. The highlights there include some of the kind of, back and forth when it came to whether or not these districts were drawn with respect to race. So there's certainly a lot of that in play. So at this point, we're still waiting. What's funny is that they're still litigating the maps that were prior to these maps. And so it gives you a sense of how long it takes for this to happen. But the Supreme Court could clear a lot of this up because they've got a pretty big case in front of them.
Yeah, and that case, you don't have to wait till June for them to give a decision on that, correct?
We might not have to wait that long. They're likely to rule earlier because what's happening is that some of the plaintiffs are asking that they essentially expedite this. They want to have new maps in time for the 2026 election, and the time is running very short to get that accomplished.
Explain for folks that aren't following it as closely as we are, what did the Supreme Court just hear?
Yeah, it's a really important case, maybe the most important case the court will hear all year, maybe a whole decade, because it deals with the ability for map makers to draw lines based upon race and race alone. In a dispute over a Louisiana voting map, the conservative majority basically has implied during the oral arguments that they think that the Voting Rights Act should be essentially amended to reduce the impact of race. So Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act is the main legal limitation on gerrymandering with respect to race, and it basically bans the discrimination practice with respect to race. So a lot of the lawsuits, including the one here in Texas, that are finding their way through the courts are about Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act. So this is a process that can create these majority districts with the hope that it remedies the kind of past discrimination. There has been, as I mentioned, conservative pushback on this by saying that the Voting Rights Act wasn't meant to be a kind of permanent fixture. It needs to be temporary. Justices like Kavanaugh have said that they think that this process should be kind of term limited out or time limited out. So this is a pretty big fight because if the court decides that the Louisiana case was unconstitutional and that district was unconstitutional, it will open the floodgates to every other state who wants to reduce the impact of race and probably really effectively remake the southern portion of our country in terms of Democrats and Republicans, reducing the number of Democratic seats significantly.
And you actually just answered the question that I was about to ask, which was essentially, do you think that given the gerrymandering conversation that Texas has put forward, and as we look to other states, that the conversation is going to change on a national level when we're speaking specifically about gerrymandering?
Yeah, I mean, this could prove to be the decisive moment for the 2026 elections before any voting takes place. Multiple red states will probably follow Louisiana's lead and start redistricting. It's unlikely Texas will do it again, but they've already kind of moved in this direction anyway, I think with the expectation the court's going to side against the Voting Rights Act and really kind of eliminate the Voting Rights Act. There are estimates that Democrats could be in danger of losing up to 19 total seats across the South. That would basically wipe out the Democratic Party at the House level in most elections.
You know, I could talk to you about this all day, and there's a million topics we didn't even get to, but, you know, let's switch gears a little bit. Brandon and his son, BJ, run their own nonprofit. I see the little pumpkin on your shirt there.
Yep.
Yalloween, an organization set up to provide children in need with costumes for Halloween. What a great idea. And I'm surprised no one thought of it before. Tell us a little bit about Yalloween. Am I saying it right too? Yalloween?
You are.
Okay.
Indeed. Yeah. My oldest son came up with it, Yalloween, which is sort of Halloween for all y'all. The goal is to get Halloween costumes, which can be very expensive to kids in needs. We work with a handful of shelters, about a half a dozen shelters across Central and South Texas, to give Halloween costumes to kids in their care. These are kids who are in pretty dire circumstances. They're maybe sort of between homes. They've had abusive situations. So we work with organizations that are rehabilitating them and to work through some of the issues that they're facing. And we just try to give them a nice Halloween. We just love Halloween. And so we thought, since these costumes are so expensive, that it's a really kind of burden on some families. And to have some help on that would be, I think, really effective. So it's been a really fun enterprise.
How long have you been doing this, Brandon, you and your son?
This is our 5th anniversary.
Wow.
Over these years, we've probably donated about 2,000 costumes to kids across. We've got, I think, our finger on the pulse of what makes a really good costume. Most kids, I think, want superheroes. Most boys, especially, most girls are interested in princesses. We often have Frozen when that was peaking. So we've seen kind of the range of different things that a lot of the little kids want.
So what was the moment when your son said, Dad, I love Halloween. We've got to help kids that don't get a Halloween. What was that moment like?
when we were shopping for Halloween costumes years ago, the price tag was the biggest point. He saw that it was $60, $70 for a costume even back then, and now they're even higher. And it was a kind of eye-opening moment for him. So it kind of grew into this notion of helping people who are otherwise not able to have a great Halloween like that. And it's a small thing to do. It's the kind of moment where we see in other holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas and others that people are willing to give and spend their time volunteering. But we wanted to make Halloween a giving holiday. So not just trick-or-treating, for one night, we can give a lot more during the entire holiday period.
And what's the process, Brandon? Do people donate their old costumes to you all, or do you all work with different partnerships? How does that work if somebody wants to say, hey, I have old costumes?
Yeah, we'd love to start to develop a process to take old costumes because, like you've got kids, they wear the costume one time and it kind of goes in a closet.
You spend
and
the
so
$60.
we'd like to be able to reuse them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So we'd like to be able to work to reusing them. But right now we're kind of smallish operation. And so what we've done is to work with these various shelters to kind of collect the, gender and some preferences in terms of costume and age, and then find them new costumes. We take donations, and you can do that at Yalloween.org. We have a Amazon wish list that has a bunch of costumes, so you can go pick out a little baby pumpkin costume or like an adult-sized pirate costume that kids will wear. So there's a lot of ways to be able to chip in and help.
Quickly before we run out of time on this, I want you to talk about a little beyond just the costumes, the significance of these children and feeling that sense of inclusion or exclusion without the costumes, and what really the bigger goal is of what you're doing.
It's such a great question. We have seen the circumstances in which a lot of these young kids are facing and their parents, and it's dreadful. It's awful to see, and it breaks the heart. But to give them these costumes, I think, takes the stigma out of it. We had a shelter organizer tell us that this makes them feel more normal, and it gives some routine and some fun to an otherwise kind of really rough situation. So I think that's the kind of motivation that keeps us going back. Our house every year looks like a Halloween spirit store. There's just boxes and boxes of costumes. So we definitely are kind of inundated for much of October, but it gives us a chance to be able to give back. And people have been so generous with their time and with their money on this. We had a woman who sent us a costume from our list who had lost loved ones in the some of the floods in Central Texas. And it's just so heartwarming to see that people are willing to help other people's kids have a great Halloween.
Brandon Rottinghaus is a professor of political science at the University of Houston and host of Houston Public Media's Party Politics. Brandon, thanks for being with us today.
My pleasure. Thanks, everybody.
And to learn more about Yalloween, you can visit Yalloween.org. But coming up, the second hour of Hello Houston. Stay with us.
You know what makes this service possible? You do. I mean that. This station is supported by you, and we're only here because you stand up and support Houston Public Media. Your gift today means even more because, as you know, our federal funding is gone, so we're relying 100% on our community. So donate right now, today, at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate, or you can call 888-909-0887. I'm Ernie Manous.
I'm what's left of Frank Billingsley.
And I'm Celeste Diaz-Sherman.
You're right, Ernie, and we love hearing from our listeners. And it's what the listeners have to say.
Yeah.
They're all over YouTube, but they text us and they write us even
and they email
emails.
us.
Yes, I was going to say letters. They don't really write us letters, do they?
But they could if they'd like
They could
to.
if they want. We want to hear from you, and we're thankful for the people who've dedicated their lives to share a story that's larger than themselves. That's what we hear a lot of people say about what we do here. We give you access to different perspectives. It's a liberty that should never be taken for granted. We get to say what we want, and you do too on Hello Houston as well as on public media. So thank you. We'd love to get your donation to our cause, houstonpublicmedia.org/donate, or give us a call, 888-909-0887.
So Frank and Ernie, speaking of comments, okay, let me share a few, and this is a really good one. This person says, I used to watch Arthur, the aardvark, on PBS before elementary school every morning, and now I listen to NPR on my commute to work. I can't imagine my life without public media. Today, when you donate to Houston Public Media, you're supporting your right to information. And you can also select meals as your thank you gift. You'll make one gift to Houston Public Media and make double the impact with another gift to a homebound senior citizen. So please give now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
You bring up a great point, Celeste, because when you make that donation right now, I can break down the number of meals you'll be getting into the lives, into the people that need them in our own community. A $240 one-time gift or just $20 a month as a sustaining member will provide 20 meals. That continues on up. If you become a Studio Society member, $1,200 in a one-time gift or $100 monthly. Think of it as $25 a week. 100 meals will be provided for people in our community in need. Here at Houston Public Media, we do more than feed your mind. We feed our community thanks to your help. So we need to hear from you right now. Help keep Houston Public Media's mission strong and make that donation. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
Feed your mind and feed your senior citizens. Did you make that line up?
Did you like that?
That's really good.
You see, feed people in need. Feed those.
This is why we have Ernie. He's so creative. In a world of political spin, our newsroom sticks to the facts. Our newsroom goes beyond the headlines. They explain to you what news actually means sometimes. And we need that guidance. We need to make sense of everything that is happening around us. We were talking earlier about how it's just coming at us so fast. It's just inundated. It's literally just a flood of information. You deserve clarity and truth when making decisions that will affect you and your family. So support us now. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call us 888-909-0887.
When you have access to trustworthy news, facts, information about things that are going to affect you and your family, you can make better informed decisions about your day-to-day life. And that is important and that's powerful. And today, when you donate to Houston Public Media, you're supporting your right to information. And you can also select meals as your thank you gift, doubling that impact for yourself, the public media, as well as somebody who is in need. You'll make one gift to Houston Public Media and make double the impact. Please give now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
We had the opportunity to go out with some of the Meals on Wheels delivery folks and deliver those meals. And we talk about it in the abstract here. You can feed someone who needs a meal, and we think, yay, to actually see these people, to meet them and see, first of all, in many cases, it's the only human interaction they'll have that day.
That's an excellent point.
They come at the door. They're happy to talk to you. They want to know what things are. They're so thankful for that meal. And we help make that possible because of you. And so many of them listen to the station. And they're like so many in our community who can't afford to make a donation right now. But if you can, do it for your whole community. Give us a call right now or join us online. Online, just go to HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
And don't forget Anna Meals, which is part of the Meals on Wheels. Interfaith Ministries does such a great job because they were finding some of those seniors give their food to their dogs and cats. So they came up with Anna Meals. So it's a great organization. If you give $1,200 or more each year, think of the huge impact you'll make. Please join us with this really big difference in people's lives. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate is the place to go. You can make that gift or call us 888-909-0887.
Stay tuned. There's more Hello Houston on the way with Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at HoustonPublicMedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media. This is News 88.7.
Support comes from the Houston Symphony, where jazz meets the classics. In Gershwin and Grimaud, jazz meets symphony. Pianist Aline Grimaud joins the orchestra for Gershwin's Concerto in F, October 17th through the 19th at Jones Hall. Tickets at houstonsymphony.org. Support for Houston Public Media comes from Houston Habitat for Humanity, where volunteering can create a home for a Houston family. Together, we build joy. Learn more at houstonhabitat.org/NPR.
Why give to Houston Public Media? Because you're listening to Hello Houston right now, a show that gives you more than just headlines. It provides context, community, and connection.
You hear from experts, local leaders, and everyday people. You get the complete picture, and that only happens with your support.
This journalism is powered 100% by listeners. That means you make it possible.
If this show matters to you, take the next step. Give now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate.
Support comes from SunnyPro, a Houston-based business advisory firm providing tailored consulting solutions, specializing in technology assessments, cybersecurity, AI strategy, and more. Details at sunnypro.com or follow at SunnyPro LLC.
This is your NPR station, KUHF, Houston. News 88.7, the service of the University of Houston. It's 12 o'clock.
Just ahead on this hour of Hello Houston, 2 Houston area parents have been arrested after being accused of leaving their 6-month-old infant on a Florida beach. We'll discuss this and more as we continue diving into today's top stories. I'm Frank Billingsley.
And I'm Celeste Diaz-Sherman. We'll also be joined by Pablo Pinto, the director of the University of Houston's Center for Public Policy, who will discuss the economic strain Houston area households are currently facing.
Plus, we'll share a rundown of the things that are currently taking over all of our free time on our regular Thursday feature, Current Obsessions.
And we want to hear from you. Give us a call or send us a text at 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. You can also watch us on YouTube by going to houstonpublicmedia.org.
Hello Houston is made possible in part by founding sponsors John Bradshaw and Kathy Sanders, and by gifts from listeners like you.
Live from NPR News, I'm Lakshmi Singh. The Republican-led U.S. Senate did not get enough votes to advance legislation to reopen the government. NPR's Barbara Sprint reports it's the 10th time a vote like this has failed.
The 51-45 vote fell short of the 60 votes needed to move forward. Senate Republicans need a handful of Democrats to join them in order to advance the bill. 2 Democrats and 1 independent senator have repeatedly voted alongside Republicans. No new Democrats have joined them since that first vote. As the stalemate continues, Senate Democrats insist Republicans have to negotiate with them in order to get their votes, specifically on the soon-to-expire Affordable Care Act subsidies. Republicans say reopen the government first, negotiate after. Because the Senate doesn't plan to be in legislative session until Monday, it's expected that the funding lapse and negotiation impasse will hit the 3-week mark next week. Barbara Sprint, NPR News, the Capitol.
Political map makers and voting rights advocates are watching to see when the U.S. Supreme Court will rule in a case that will shape the future of redistricting. Here's NPR's Hansi Lo-Wang.
For this Louisiana redistricting case, it's not clear if the Supreme Court will break from its usual schedule of releasing major decisions in June. Louisiana officials have asked for a ruling by early January. Alana Odoms leads the American Civil Liberties Union of Louisiana, which is representing a group of black voters in this case, and says whenever the court rules, it would determine whether the Voting Rights Act Section 2 could continue to protect against the dilution of racial minority voters' collective power in places where voting is racially polarized.
If Section 2 falls, legislatures could redraw maps whenever it helps them keep power, and communities of color could pay the price or would pay the price.
Depending on how the court rules, Republicans could redraw up to 19 more congressional districts in their favor. Hansi Lo-Wang, NPR News.
The UN humanitarian chief says there's been a setback in the amount of aid going to Gaza during the Israel-Hamas ceasefire. More from NPR's Aya Batrawi.
The UN says its teams in the past 24 hours were only able to collect aid, such as food, medicine, and hygiene kits that had previously been transferred into Gaza. That means the UN wasn't able to bring in new aid since at least Tuesday. The UN says a flood of aid is desperately needed in Gaza to reverse starvation and severe malnutrition, particularly among children. The UN humanitarian chief Tom Fletcher says thousands of trucks of aid should be flowing into Gaza every week, and that all land crossings into Gaza must be open. He says the UN has long insisted that withholding aid from civilians in Gaza is not a bargaining chip. Israel's military has not responded to NPR's request for comment. Fletcher also called on Hamas to make strenuous efforts to return all bodies of hostages. Aya Batrawi, NPR News, Dubai.
U.S. stocks trading lower this hour, with the Dow down 173 points, the S&P has lost 28, and the Nasdaq is now off 68 points. From Washington, this is NPR News.
Live from News 88.7 in Houston, I'm Alexandra Hart. Houston police say they stopped a shooting near a homeless encampment early this morning. HPD Lieutenant R. Wilkins says officers were on a traffic stop on Harwin Drive in Sharpstown when they saw a man opening fire at other people in a nearby alleyway. He says one officer opened fire at the suspect.
Again, traffic stop. Officers on viewed the shooting and down the alley. Our officer discharged firearm 5 times towards the suspect who was doing the shooting. We have 1 male in custody we believe to be the shooter, the suspect, and we got 3 victims from the shooting that are at local hospitals.
One of the 3 people injured is in critical condition. The other 2 are expected to survive. Police are not sure what led up to the shooting. The executive director of immigrant rights organization FIEL Houston was removed from Houston City Council chambers Wednesday after saying the police chief lied about the detention of a 15-year-old boy diagnosed with autism. Cesar Espinoza was escorted out of City Council after making an outburst during a discussion about the teen.
This child is autistic and he's failed at education, and he hasn't got the proper care that he deserves because of failing administrations at the federal, county, and different levels. Don't lie, Whitmire. Don't lie, Diaz.
It happened a week after 15-year-old Emmanuel Gonzalez Garcia went missing, eventually being found by HPD officers and placed with the Office of Refugee Resettlement. A major school bus crash this morning in Montgomery County that shut down all traffic lanes has now been cleared. That's according to the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. The crash happened before 8 a.m. at the intersection of FM 2854 and Mail Route Road, about an hour from downtown Houston. Multiple outlets reporting 8 students were taken to the hospital for evaluation. It's unclear what led to the crash. It's 81 degrees right now on the University of Houston campus. Today's high is near 88, and we'll have a slight chance of some much-needed showers this afternoon after 5 p.m. A better chance of rain in tomorrow's forecast, around 40%. Tomorrow's high, around 86. I'm Alexandra Hart, News 88.7.
Support for NPR comes from ARM, committed to delivering innovative, advanced computing designed to enable worldwide companies to unleash the capabilities and experiences of AI. The future of AI is built on ARM. ARM.com. This is NPR.
Live from Houston Public Media and News 88.7, it's Hello Houston, an open forum on today's biggest stories affecting Houston and beyond. Call now, 713-440-8870, or let us know your thoughts on today's topics by emailing us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now, Hello Houston with Ernie Manous, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
Welcome back to the second hour of Hello Houston. Hello, Frank. Hello, Ernie.
Hello there.
We want to thank you all for staying with us. In this second hour as we head in, we have a lot going on, and we are in the middle of campaigns. So if you hear us talking about Meals on Wheels or trees, here at Houston Public Media, we are.
And we got a YouTube comment that just came down from Kevin.
I was just going to read that. Yeah.
Go ahead, read it.
No, please.
I think I've been an HPM subscriber for almost a year now, mainly because I'm terrified of the kind of world we'd live in without local and, more importantly, unbiased news. That would be called Russia. That's what kind of world we would live in.
Well, there's a lot of places where they don't have access to the news and free press like we have in this country, which in a lot of ways people fear could be under attack in today's day and age. And it's very important that we support a news source like Houston Public Media. I know we're not supposed to be in a campaign break right now, but HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate. What brought me into this, though, was I went back to look at the YouTube chit chat. And I just love how they all interact with each other there. One of our folks had a wellness check today, and the other person is saying, oh, thank you for going.
Get your wellness checks. But, like you said, we're not technically in a break. But the fact of the matter is that we're impacted by these funding cuts every single day. Whether we are in the middle of a campaign or not, we feel that pinch. And I think a lot of people are feeling that pinch. So if you have taken the moment to donate, thank you for that.
Yeah, and we know that everyone can't afford to donate. And so if you can afford to do it, you're not just doing it for you, you're doing it for the whole community. Because regardless if you donate or not, this service is free and available to all. And hopefully all take advantage of it.
Well, and we have sponsors, and it's important to have viewers and listeners. So, if you can't donate, you can't donate. But we're glad you're listening to us. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Well, Alex Garza's listening right now, and she's very concerned.
About?
She doesn't know what day it is.
Today is October 16th. Year 2025.
Nice.
The year of our Lord.
Happy birthday to all of you born on this day, whenever you were born.
If today is your birthday, happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I don't know. Is that it's not a Scorpio yet. Is it a Libra? What is it?
I do not do
What
zodiacs.
are we at? I don't do
I mean, I know what mine is, and I think I've told you before, I was supposed to be a Leo, according to a famous astrologer, because I was born early in the morning, early in the cycle.
Early in the cycle.
Early in the cycle. So when you read it, read the one before. So I should read Leo instead of Virgo.
I was born at 12:30 in the morning on June 22nd.
Oh, you should read the next one.
But that's the cusp. So my head is a Gemini and my butt is a Cancer.
Oh, we've said that before. Anyway, moving along, Frank, tell us about the weather and not about your cancer.
You know what? It's nice out there. It's warm. We're going to have a front come through on Saturday night into Sunday morning. So those are going to bring our best chances of rain, 20-30%. And then it looks like it'll peel out of here. And Sunday afternoon will be go to the park day. It's going to be spectacular.
Beautiful.
But we got to get there.
Okay. You know me. I always like to look really far ahead. Any idea on Halloween night? Can you tell me anything yet?
Do I go out that far yet? Let me see. I don't think
so. It's further away than I keep thinking it's right here.
I got you.
Okay, what you got for me? We're good?
Yep.
No rain?
No rain.
Cold?
As of now.
Cool.
Good. Then I can wear a good costume.
Yeah.
Love it.
There you go.
My British computer guy says my current obsession. We're going to be having current obsessions.
Oh, yes.
I'm going to hold that one then.
Okay.
Coming up.
If you've got a current obsession, that's something you love to talk about, you're bugging all your friends with, they see you coming and they turn away because they know you're going to talk about this, we want to hear it. So give us a call, text us, email us, and we'll go through those a little later on in the show.
Nice.
Alex Garza says, Frank Billingsley, best comment of the week. And Kevin says, absolutely wild. We are a little wild.
We are a little wild today. You know what else is a little wild? It's taking a look at the community in which we live. Some kind of negative stuff has come out about us.
Wild story that's come out.
Yeah. Poverty level and Houston. We're going to be finding out more about that coming up in just a little bit. But staying on wild stories, take me to the headlines, Celeste.
2 Houston parents are facing charges after being accused of leaving their 6-month-old infant on a Florida beach last Friday. Officials said they were called out to the beach in Miramar Beach in Walton County regarding a 6-month-old baby left unattended beneath a tent. While deputies waited for other officials to arrive and assess the infant, the parents returned to the scene where they both admitted to placing the 6-month-old under a tent for a nap before leaving with their other children. claiming they lost track of time. According to the Walton County Sheriff Office, the parents, who have been identified as Brian Wilkes and Sarah Wilkes of Houston, have been charged with child neglect without great bodily harm. Officials stated Good Samaritans immediately began caring for the child and contacted authorities. Officials said security footage obtained during the investigation confirmed the family was away for nearly an hour and did not bring their cell phone with them. What do you think? Should the parents face the charges, or did they just lose track of time? Give us a call, 713-440-8870.
I don't even know where to begin with this one. There's two parents. One could have stayed with the baby.
Yeah.
The baby's 6 months old. How big could that baby have been? Take it with you for your walk. How do you lose track of time when you have a child? I've got a million questions about this story. These parents, I'm sorry. You need a license to drive a car. I'm back to you need a license to raise a child.
I'm sorry, but I totally...
Well, Celeste and I had kicked around the idea of a segment called I'm Sorry, But. And each day, Celeste and I would just go back about the things we were sorry.
I'm sorry, but you take the baby with you.
Yes.
Yes.
Would you ever,
No.
one of your children at 6 months old at a beach?
At 6 years old.
Well, not even like you left them in their room at home and went to the living room without a baby monitor on or something. You worry that. Out in public?
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
On a beach in another state. So when about a couple of years ago, we were living in California, and I watched this documentary about Madeleine McCann, which was the British little girl who in Spain who was kidnapped.
Right.
And her parents had left all the kids asleep, and they had gone to dinner. They were all in the same resort, and they were going back and checking for them. Well, they think somebody broke in, saw this toddler, took her. She's been missing. That affected me so greatly because you just, I know that there are a lot of people saying people overreact and nowadays kids need to have independence and things like that. This was a baby. Like a little baby. I mean, what would happen if somebody just picked up the baby and walked?
Yeah, fortunately, there were Good Samaritans around the baby that sort of took over and noticed that the child was alone. And they're the ones they're the ones that called the police and called 911 and said, hey, we have this baby here unattended.
And the thing is people around didn't notice it within 5 minutes. Right? Like you see the baby and you're thinking, okay, maybe the parent just went to go throw something away.
But even
then you start seeing the baby alone.
They probably heard the baby. Baby probably started to cry.
Was it you, Celeste, who said they went for a walk down the beach?
They went walking down the beach. They had 3 other kids. I read all about it, and there was no real alcohol involved. The parents were totally coherent. They simply said,
and they're a nice looking couple. I looked them up.
They fine.
Look like you could be your neighbors. You know, I mean, they just look like normal Houstonians.
My British computer guy says on YouTube, that's a long time to be away, an hour from a 6 month. I mean, I don't think there's any amount of time you can be away from a 6 month old when you're out in public to just leave the child unattended.
Well, like you said, there were 2 parents.
Yeah.
One parent stays with the 6 month old, and the other 2 take the kids.
And do we know the age of the other kids?
No, we don't know the age of the other kids.
No, but they could walk.
Right. So I'm thinking, one of the kids could have stayed and watched the kid if another kid needed to walk down. I just don't. There's so much in this story that bothers me. What do you think? 713-440-8870. I'm sure you folks have opinions on this one, and I'd love to hear it. Have you ever left your child unattended by accident? We had a neighbor growing up. I've talked about her a number of times on the show. She always would put her child in the carry thing.
Like the baby
chair,
Bjorn.
And would put it on top of the car as she put groceries and stuff in her car.
Oh, gosh.
And she started to drive away with the kid on top of the car. That has scarred me for life, thinking and remembering. Now, nothing bad happened. 3 feet she went. She's like, oh, my God, the child's on the roof of the car. But I cannot imagine. I just, okay.
You know, and listen, I'm a parent. There have been times where you are tired, you're sleep deprived, things happen, right? I understand.
2 parents, and what about the other kids too? Nobody thought, bring the baby.
You bring the baby. And there's a lot of questions around even looking at millennial parenting and saying, you know, we're so, the helicopter parents, our kids have anxiety because we can't let them just walk down the street. So, you know, there is question there. We did get a text that says, I'm sorry, but at least they didn't leave the kid in the car. CK from Magnolia.
That's a non sequitur argument. That makes no sense.
But that happens too. Parents leave a child in a hot car and go into the store.
And that's tragic.
That's horrible. These are both horrible situations. And this one could have ended so badly.
Kevin shared with us on YouTube, suddenly having flashbacks. I love this story. Flashbacks to that time in middle school where we had to care for a baby doll for a week. Did any of you have to do that?
I didn't have to do that.
The flower.
Yeah, they would cry at random intervals, and you'd be graded based on how often you rocked it to sleep.
That's pretty good.
We had the egg. You had to take care of an egg for a week or something and not crack it and carry it around and make sure it was safe.
We had a 5-pound flour bag.
Yeah,
that's what we had to kind of carry around. We put like a little diaper on it.
Wow, I had a pack of Marlboros when I was in high school. We had a smoking section. We did. I'm just thinking, oh my God, it's come such a long way from when I was in high school.
Well, back to the baby. I think that suddenly puts in focus the significance and importance of those things they put us through in school, where it was the egg or the flour or the baby doll, that there are attempts to teach you the responsibility of how you have to care for a child. Okay.
So I'm just going to go out there on a limb and say, what if the parents were like, we went for a walk, there were people around, the baby was asleep, everything was fine.
We only needed to walk a football field and come back. 100 yards,
we walked
turn around, come back.
30 minutes. We didn't realize how far we'd walked, and we rushed back. And by the time we came back, it had been an hour. This was never our intention.
You shop in the store with your child. You don't even try and lose sight of them in a store, because we've heard so many stories of kids being abducted. To think that even if there were people around, to think you're surrounded by good Samaritans. I know where you're going with that, trying to give some.
I'm trying to show some grace to parents because, you're on vacation, you're tired, you're out there, and the baby's sound asleep. You have your little tent, it's covered up.
So you say, hubby, go for the walk. Mommy's going to sit here and watch it. Mommy, go for the walk. Hubby's going to sit here and watch the kid.
You go, we'll switch.
Yeah. I can't find. Now, is it criminal intent? Probably not. Was it reckless behavior? Absolutely, I think.
Yeah.
And I will say, and I'm not defending anyone here, but Florida beaches are private generally. Like the hotel can own the beach, a community can own the beach. We can't in Texas. Maybe they were on a private beach at a private home with. And I don't know. I mean, I really don't know the facts other than that they were arrested for doing this.
Would this story be different to us if the kid was 8 years old?
No,
we're talking about a 6-month-old.
The difference between an 8-year-old and a 6-month-old is that an 8-year-old can start screaming if something odd is happening. An 8-year-old can run to an adult.
But I wouldn't even leave an
8-year-old. Say,
there is a difference.
My 4-year, I don't have a 6-year, a 4-year-old. Philip will tell us if something happened at school or if they can communicate. A 6-month-old baby truly is just by itself. I mean, that's hard. We did receive an off-air comment from a caller who says, what if a dog came along and either terrified the baby or bit it? And what if the sun was out and it wasn't in the shade? I do feel sorry for the parents, though. I'm sure they probably didn't mean any harm. Linda from the Galleria. Listen, you're right. And let's go to Anna from Pearland. Anna Maria. Welcome to Hello Houston, Anna Maria.
Yes, I think that what they did was absolutely, positively wrong. Mm-hmm. And but because they do have other children, maybe what parents need to do instead of putting them in jail would be to go to total parenting classes and teach them how to be parents, which clearly they don't know what to do.
Anna Maria, thank you for calling with those comments. I think this is finally a topic that everyone can agree upon, that this wasn't the right thing to do.
Yeah. It wasn't the right thing to do, no.
How severe we should react to it, probably there's differencing of opinions. We hear stories all the time. Celeste, being a parent is not an easy job. Raising children, sometimes you think you're doing the right thing. You didn't even think it through.
And you're right. And this is the thing that I think it's so hard nowadays as a parent, because we get so much information and we see so many horrible things. Stories that aren't even affecting our community that are terrible, we hear about them happening in other places. So there's also this level of anxiety that you just have, that something always bad is going to happen. And you don't want to necessarily live in that space either.
Well, I'm not defending this couple. But
I'm not either.
They did leave their cell phones, so they trusted the speech, is what I'm saying.
Right.
I mean, they probably left. I mean,
their wallet.
Who leaves their cell phone?
In case the baby needed to call.
Yeah, right. I mean, they just seemed like they felt like this was a safe space surrounded by enough people that they could take a walk and come back. I'm sure that's what their defense is going to be.
It's just so,
but
if there is any.
Okay, and even if you want to give them grace for that, it's a 5-minute walk. You are not gone for an hour.
I would never leave my child out of my eyesight, especially my 6 month. Now, for example, I could see the baby's under the tent, whatever, and my kids want me to show me something. I would walk down to the water, to the beach, but you can still look back and see your baby.
All right, we're going to shift topics really quickly for a fast story, and then we'll move on. A planned Katy Pride celebration this weekend at Typhoon, Texas, has been canceled. The water park says the decision was made over safety concerns after it received multiple threats, some via cell phone or phone calls, others from people showing up in person. Typhoon, Texas emphasized it values inclusion and welcomed all communities, but said it must protect its guests and staff where threats arise. Organizers, though, of Katy Pride said the event had been in the works for nearly a year with a contract in place since April. They expressed frustration, saying they were unaware of any credible threats. They are now searching for a new venue and have received a refund from the park. The organization's kickoff speakeasy event is still expected to take place this evening at First Christian Church, Katy. But the larger gathering on Saturday, expected to draw around 2,000 people, is now in limbo. What do you think? Let us know. Should they have canceled the event? 713-440-8870.
Maybe they should all go to the No Kings event downtown.
There is the No Kings event coming.
Yeah, you're looking for something to do and you want your voice heard, because it seems like the longer we go, the more cancellation we get with the gay community. I don't think it's going to stop.
And the No Kings protest in Houston is on Saturday, October 18th. It's scheduled to take place at Houston City Hall, located at 901 Bagby Street.
Starting at 2 p.m., as I understand it.
It won't be as much fun as Typhoon, Texas. But if you're a little, disenchanted with this cancellation of a fun Pride event, this is one place that you can take that energy and say, you know what, this has got to stop.
And, in the end of the day, when you look at this type of situation, it's unfair for all, because Typhoon, Texas is a business, and it puts them in a very difficult situation and puts them in a corner where they are basically, if they decide to still have it, their community might come after them. If they decide not to have it, they're, neglecting a whole community.
Yeah.
So
it's a no-win.
It's tough. And I feel like so many small business owners are being impacted by these situations that it's unfortunate that they have to be put in the middle of these very unfortunate social situations.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll wrap up this segment right now. And
kudos to the First Christian Church of Katy for sticking with the Pride community.
We are seeing people coming out of and
I'll throw one other idea out there for the No Kings organizers. Organize these events and protests on Election Day and then lead everyone to the polls. If that's how you want to have your voice heard. People love to go to these rallies, but does that translate into votes? That's what they should start doing them now. That's what I think.
Coming up on Hello Houston, Pablo Pinto, the director of the University of Houston's Center for Public Policy and a professor at the Hobby School, will join us to discuss the economic strain Houston area households are currently facing. This is News 88.7.
Thank you for listening to Houston Public Media. We know you're here because you rely on this station to bring you the truth, especially now when there's just so much going on in the news. You know that when you're here and you hear a story on Houston Public Media, it's truthful and fully researched. That's only possible because of you. Make your gift right now at houstonpublicmedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887. I'm Ernie Manous.
I'm Frank Billingsley. I know you care about facts and access to facts just like we do. Just like you, we care about the truth. And now you can triple your impact on the trusted news you rely on. You heard me right. $10 becomes $30. $100 becomes $300. This is triple donation hour. So please.
Talk about burying the lead in what I just said.
I mean,
we have a triple match.
You know what? Our organization organizers throw all these great things at us. I know we were giving meals away last hour. Now we're triple matching. Huge opportunity. Please triple your donation right now. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
So I have some really great news.
What?
It's not one or the other. It's both. It's Meals on Wheels Day, and we are triple matching.
Oh, good.
So Meals on Wheels. It delivers nutritious meals, and it's a social check-in for seniors in our community and people that are homebound or have difficulty preparing their food. So think about that. You are donating and you are supporting local journalism. You're also supporting those in our community, and your donation has triple the impact. So go to HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or pick up that phone, 888-909-0887.
And remember, when we talk about a triple match, what we're talking about is no more work for you. Make that donation at any amount you can afford to give. We take care of the rest of it. Other donors have put together a fund to support that money. So when you show your initiative, they will match that 2 times over. We triple match your donation. So go ahead. Be as generous as you can be or as you want to be. This is the moment to do it. A lot of people wait till the last day of campaign to make their donation, or they do it in the first. If you haven't donated yet, there's no better time than this very moment. Make it go 3 times as far. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or 888-909-0887.
If you believe in your right to know what's really going on, now is the time to act. Right now, your donation is tripled, but it won't last long, so do it now. Triple your impact at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or give us a call, 888-909-0887.
Every program like Hello Houston or Houston Matters and every newscast that you hear reflects our mission, and our mission is to serve you. And that is with integrity and purpose. We are intentional about serving you. We keep you in mind when we decide what to investigate, what headlines to bring forward, what to report on, what to discuss. You are the center of this organization, and we truly cannot do this without you. Make your impact now at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate. Or again, give us a call. We're here. We're waiting for you. 888-909-0887.
Meet the way we consume it.
We know you value Houston Public Media. That's why you're watching right now. So take the next step and become a new member of the station you rely on. Every gift makes a difference. And what matters most right now is supporting the station that brings you the news and information you rely on. It only takes a minute to make a big difference. So join as a new member today at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 800-364-8300.
We believe that addressing the climate crisis begins by talking about it.
So we engage diverse voices to deepen your understanding of all aspects of the climate emergency, the individual and the systemic,
the scary and the exciting, causes and solutions.
So join us for conversations about the most critical issue of our time on Climate One.
Sundays at 6 a.m. on News 88.7.
Every time you listen to Hello Houston, you're getting more than headlines. You're getting depth, dialogue, and stories that reflect your city.
That kind of reporting takes time, people, and real investment. It doesn't happen automatically. It happens because listeners like you step up.
If this show informs you, challenges you, or makes you think, now's the time to give.
Make your gift at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate.
Ellen Benninghoven and Dr. Michael Schaefer, proud sponsors of Houston Matters with Craig Cohen. Tune in Monday through Friday at 9 on News 88.7.
Support comes from Carr, Riggs & Ingram, CPAs and Advisors, a top 25 nationally ranked full-service accounting and advisory firm offering tax, audit, accounting, consulting, and advisory services. Learn more at CRICPA.com.
And now back to Hello Houston. To comment on any of today's topics, call 713-440-8870 or email us at talk@hellohouston.org. And now here's Ernie Manous, Celestia Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
A new report from the University of Houston's Hobby School of Public Affairs sheds light on the growing financial strain facing Houston area households. According to the report, nearly half of residents are cutting back on essential needs like food and electricity, and over 70% are burdened by debt. Much of it is from credit cards, car loans, and student debt. Joining us now is Pablo Pinto, the director of the University of Houston's Center for Public Policy and a professor at the Hobby School, to unpack the findings and what this really means for Houston and Houston's future. So, Pablo, welcome to Hello Houston.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
And if you have a question or you would like to join the conversation, you can give us a call or send us a text, 713-440-8870. Now, Pablo, just right off the bat, something that immediately jumped out to me, and walk us through this. Houston has the highest poverty rate among major U.S. citizens,
Yes.
I mean, U.S. cities, at 21.2%.
Sure. Yes.
What does that mean?
It means that people are struggling. I mean, so this is the bottom line from the report. And we see a city that's growing. Economic activity remains strong, but there are some members of our population that are struggling and falling behind. And I think that's the bottom line from this report. We're trying to supplement the data that we get from the BLS and the census and translate into what's happening within the household. And so the idea is that what we observe is, rising costs are likely to put people below the poverty line. So if your income doesn't rise, but your expenditures do, we have a poverty level that we measure. And so people are going to fall below that poverty level because their income is not adjusting.
What is the poverty level for this study?
So the poverty level from this study comes from the census, from the American Community Survey. That's the baseline that we use, and that poverty level is roughly $34,000. For a household. And rises. To depending on the household size, and that's could be problematic because it doesn't account for the cost of living. That's why we do this survey to identify. How that might be impacting the households in the Houston area.
So a fifth of us are under the $30,000 mark.
Yes.
That surprises me.
That is.
Does it surprise you?
It doesn't surprise because it's been showing the data all along, and it's goes up and down as inflation goes up and down. And so people fall. There's a structural poverty, but there's also poverty that happens. Based on conditions that are frictional. So you lose your job, you might fall behind. We saw that during Harvey. Inflation goes up, so your income doesn't not match, and so for the people hovering below and above, they might fall, and that's what you observe. So it's not surprising because we've been observing it all along. And remember, Houston, especially people who live wage earners in Houston, have been struck with many different natural disasters, and COVID and the like, and we observed that in our studies of the impact of Hurricane Harvey. We do see that wage earners were the first to fall, behind because there was closing, right? And the next level, right? We got COVID, and then last year we got burial, and those people, cannot make their ends meet.
Well, can I put it in perspective real quick? That's like a $15 an hour wage. Yeah. You're going to make about $30,000 a year at $15 an hour. So most people would say, well, the minimum is half of that. Yeah. So a $15 an hour job sounds pretty good, but it isn't.
It's not, because the basic costs that you're facing are rising. You're facing food costs are going up, energy costs are going up, the cost of education are going up, housing, in particular, is going up, and those are going to affect your bottom line.
Sure.
I know in Houston we have had a struggle with this poverty level for a while now. But there was a period where it was worse, and then we were doing better for a while, and now we're doing worse again.
Yes.
Why do you see that change? And to add to that question, you kind of approached it, but we're not the only city dealing with this across the state or across the country. Why is Houston being hit the worst?
So, these are all relative terms. Comparison of a 2 percentage point difference in poverty rates is not that meaningful, right? It puts us out there because we're, at the top of the list, right? And also, it's a phenomenon not only, doesn't hit the whole metropolitan area. It's a city, of Houston issue. If you move outside the city of Houston, the suburban areas, are below the state poverty level. So that tells you that the composition of who lives in the city and the resources that they have available to themselves is impacting these conditions.
But have we not, as a city, evolved as well as other cities when it comes to opportunity and jobs?
We have the issues that we had more people coming to the city. I mean, it's like based on those opportunities and jobs. I mean, it's like, and more people coming to the city puts strains on the resources that they need to get by. And so that gets compounded when you get some crisis. I mean, it's like, so, and this is something I wanted to talk at some point. I mean, it's like why we have so many programs aimed at alleviating poverty, and they don't seem to have an impact. And that's an important thought.
And I think that's what's so interesting to me, right, is that economic growth. When you think about Houston, we continue to see that we are such a diverse city. We continue to grow. You know, we've talked about that, but yet this report comes out. And so what are you seeing within the households specifically that you can tell us is unique to Houston?
So what's unique, I mean, it's not unique to Houston, but it's impacting Houston is that other cities, is that people are concerned about cost of living. I mean, that comes at the top of the list on our survey. Cost of living and inflation, I mean, it's like including household and energy prices are at the top. Mm-hmm. And those have been hitting us, I mean, it's like dramatically in the past few years. Then there's something specific about Houston. I mean, it's like we keep getting natural disasters, I mean, it's like constantly, right? Every year or so, we have a big hit, and that tends to hit the people who are not ready to. I mean, it's like who don't have savings. I mean, it's like, or people who may lose their jobs, or people who live off of wages, hourly wages. That cannot happen when the city closes down.
Right.
Right. So if your transportation system collapses, I mean, because it's a flood, I mean, it's like, or if the businesses you're working at, I mean, it's like get flooded and they have to shut down. You don't get your income, right? Mm-hmm. And that's really impactful. I mean, it's like during COVID as well. And we tend to see that the people who suffer during natural disasters also suffer during economic downturns, and they tend to also suffer during COVID in particular.
Mm-hmm. We have a question from YouTube, and it's a good one. So the moment someone falls below the poverty line, what new avenues of support open up for them, if any?
We have many of those. I mean, it's like at the state, at the local, state, and federal level. The main issue is that the uptake for many of these resources, right, from SNAP, I mean, it's like, I mean, to housing assistance and so on. We have many of these programs developed with the public sector, but with nonprofit organizations. We work with them a lot. The main issue is that they identify the target population who might be suffering, but the uptake does not match the population. And this is something we're studying at this stage. So why is it that you might be eligible for that program, but you don't take on that program? And it might be that these people might be working several jobs that they don't have the time, I mean, it's like to apply, or they don't have the paperwork needed. I mean, it's like this was particularly true during the Paycheck Protection Plan during COVID. People were eligible, but they didn't have a bank they could go to, or they didn't have the documentation to justify that they were losing their paycheck. And so we have these programs, but the uptake in the target population, I mean, it's like, is not 100%. And most people who tend to fall behind are people who are, as we call, I mean, it's like underserviced in our communities. And there are efforts. I mean, it's like the city of Houston had, I mean, this Complete Communities project several years ago, where I tried to engage with community-based organizations to try to bring in people who would be eligible for jobs. But let me give you another example that's really with one of the nonprofits we work over the years. So East Harris County has the largest level of self-employed people, right? People who tend to work, I mean, it's like mowing lawns, I mean, it's like selling food, I mean, it's like a local service and so on. East Harris County has the lowest level of incorporation, I mean, in the whole city. It says that those people who are, I mean, it's like independent workers have not incorporated their businesses. And that does not allow them to reach, I mean, it's like to have a bank account or to go to, I mean, it's like a government agency and qualify for some support from the Small Business Administrations, and they cannot justify their income and their sources, I mean, it's like for getting benefits from other organizations. So that's the main issue that we observe here. We build resources aimed at, as Nani was talking about before, supporting people who fall behind, but the uptake is not, I mean, it's like the one that we would want.
But, we're talking about, and, when we look at Houston, you're looking at the economic challenges and things, but Houston also has so much industry. And I understand that you're talking about independent, businesses or workers who haven't incorporated their businesses. But, okay, so we talked about the high cost of living. We looked at the wage stagnation. That's not happening. But job availability.
Job availability is not that bad. I mean, it's like when you look at the unemployment rate for the Houston area, it's like very close to the national average. Right? I mean, it's like so opportunities are there. The point is the city and the area are not doing bad economically. I mean, so the point is that some people within that economy are falling behind.
Yeah.
When we talk about folks being affected by the poverty level, we, population numbers-wise, have less than like New York City.
Sure.
Percentage-wise, we have more, but New York's, and once again, we're talking about small little percentage differences. Can we look to a place like New York City and say, are they doing something different? Because the regions feel very different, yet we're both facing the exact same problem. What can we learn or do differently than they're doing?
We have thought about this very seriously. I mean, it's like another project in addition to the Space City panel that we run. I mean, it's like we're following people are trying to supplement administrative data. We have built measures of vulnerability, resiliency, adaptability, and preparedness at the local level. So there are some of these indices built by the CDC and FEMA that apply the same weights for all places, right? I mean, so what makes you vulnerable, for instance, in New York City might be different from what makes you vulnerable here. For instance, being Hispanic and in some areas is one of the metrics we use for vulnerability. It catches a lot of issues. It might be issues about age, income, education, and so on. And the Houston is very different because most people here are Hispanic, so that's not a vulnerability. I mean, it's like, so we have to adjust our weights. So we build these indices and we show that there are some things that might work elsewhere that don't work here. So here we have very low density. I mean, it's like in terms of population density. That makes it really hard to provide services, right? Because you have to extend your services further in order to reach the same number of people, right? It's like, and so that creates a tension. I mean, it's like, and so, and as the city or the inner part of the city start getting more expensive in terms of affordability, people have to move further. So not having access to a car or higher prices of fuel, even if it's lower than other areas, are going to impact, people's living, and they have to move further out to be able to.
Do you feel this trend is moving in this direction, that it's going to continue to grow this poverty level, or do you see this as once again, the roller coaster we've been experiencing?
So when you look at the data, it's going to be a roller coaster. I mean, for sure. What we had in the past, this is one thing that has completely changed in the Houston area. So we got before the 2000s and through the 90s, the economic cycles in the Houston area depending on the price of oil, right?
Right.
So you'd see, jobs would go up and down. It's like as the price of oil would go up and down, wages would go up and down. People would come to the city or leave the city. It's like as a function of the cycle of the energy sector. That has completely decoupled after the 2000s, right? Mm-hmm. So just look at housing prices, right? So housing prices before would follow the cycle of the price of energy. Not anymore, because we have a very vibrant city with sectors like the health sector, and it's like manufacturing, med center, and so on. And all those industries, are putting a cushion between the price of energy and oil and what the city does. So people are not following that cycle. They're not leaving the city when the jobs are not there, and they stay behind, and some of them cannot find jobs. So the point here is, Houston is doing great. Some people in Houston are not. That's the message that we find here, and I think that might call. For our attention. It's like from affordable housing to supporting. Initiatives. It might be business can help some remain in their jobs if you provide, for instance, access to childcare. Right. Or if you provide, assistance during times of crisis, right? Or if you promote. Or if you can promote, development of financial resources.
Okay, we have to move on, but thank you so much.
Pablo Pinto is the director of the University of Houston's Center for Public Policy and a professor at the Hobby School. Pablo, this is a fascinating conversation. Yeah. Thank you for joining us today on Hello Houston.
It's always a pleasure being with you guys.
Thank you.
And coming up, we're going to discuss our current obsessions. Get yours ready. Stay with us as Hello Houston continues. We'll be back after the break.
This is that moment where we're asking for your help and support. And why is this such an important moment? Because right now we are in a triple match. That means no more effort on your part than making the donation you know you should be making and you want to be making. But our organization has amassed a group of donors who will make that a triple match. So $10 from you is $30 to our organization. Make that donation right now. A lot of people wait. A lot of people look for a reason. Oh, when can I get the most impact? We're also doing Meals on Wheels today, too. So you really got a lot of impact for that small action that you can take right now. Just go online, HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
Yeah, so you give us $50, it triples to $150. And then when you go to select your thank you gift, you can select Meals on Wheels.
There you go.
And so you help seniors who are in need, and you help the community in that way. And you also, of course, help us with basically a triple donation. So It's just perfect on all levels. We've all been talking today about the importance of independent journalism and independent research, just like we just heard about where our city stands in terms of poverty. So we want to keep that kind of information coming your way. So give us a donation now at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or 888-909-0887.
And I don't think we can say it enough. I mean, today's the perfect time to give because your donation to Houston Public Media, it fuels both food and facts.
Oh, look at you.
I like
You're
that.
You're feeding us the lines.
But the truth is that, Frank was just saying, as we were talking to Pablo Pinto, I mean, this is the type of information that we have the time and the intentionality to be able to provide. That's information about, yes, we can paint a picture of Houston is flourishing and it's doing great and, economics. But at the end of the day, as we just heard, there are still people that are struggling in our city. And so we want to be aware to other people and know about our community, what's really happening in our community. And so we want to thank you when you allow us to provide that information to you. So go to HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887 to give now.
One thing to keep in mind, what we just saw in this last interview, it's exactly what we do here at this station. We gave you the facts. We didn't tell you what you should think.
Right.
We put out the facts. We asked questions. You were offered the opportunity to ask questions as well. And then you make your own decision, but you're better informed. You're better armed to go out into this world. So right now, make that donation. It will be tripled to our organization, so we need it now more than ever. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate.
Someone was spying on Sophia for almost...
Hello, I'm Bob Maniger from the Ed and Jean Matthews Foundation. PBS has been a part of our family for generations, and we are proud supporters of Houston Public Media. From PBS Kids programming that supports children and their parents to PBS NewsHour that we rely on to learn about what's going on in our world. Your support keeps PBS available for our community across Greater Houston. Give now at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate.
Ideas that shape our city come together. From immigration to education, from local elections to cultural conversations, this show dives deep.
And it only happens because listeners like you choose to give. Right now, during our fall campaign, we're asking for your support.
If this show matters to you, take the next step and make your gift at HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate.
Support for Houston Public Media comes from Drexel University, whose cooperative education program positions students to explore future careers and discover their passions before graduation. More about experiential education at drexel.edu. Support for Houston Public Media comes from Theater Under the Stars, with a production of the Broadway musical comedy, the 25th Annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. Performances begin Tuesday at the Hobby Center. Tickets available at tuts.org. Support for Houston Public Media comes from listeners like you and from Texas Mutual Insurance Company, a workers' compensation provider committed to helping Texas communities and emphasizing safety. More at texasmutual.com/TexansGetIt. Support comes from downtown Houston, a growing urban district and home to performing arts, Houston Rockets and Houston Astros, and global headquarters with over 1 million square feet of office leases signed this year. Details at downtownhouston.org.
And now back to Hello Houston. Call now, 713-440-8870, or email us at talk@hellohouston.org to get your comment in on today's topics. Here's Ernie Manous, Celeste Diaz-Sherman, and Frank Billingsley.
And
We're
now
back.
it's time. We're back.
Current obsessions. Did you see the YouTube comment from my British computer guy?
Yeah, read it to us.
My current obsession has to be Hello Houston.
Of course.
It's the only show I listen to every day. I think I've only missed 2 episodes. Love you all. You do a fantastic job.
My comment to that is, I think I've missed more episodes than my British computer guy has. Well, that is awesome. I think you should be the goal for all listeners to listen every day and never miss. And I think of all the obsessions you could have, that's a good one to have.
That's plenty.
Celeste, what are we talking about when we talk about our current obsessions?
It's that one thing that takes up all your time. You drive that extra mile listening to either your podcast or that song on Spotify that's on repeat. They just play over and over and over again. And you know what's trending right now on X is the 2025 Victoria's Secret fashion show. That is what is trending.
Okay.
But it hasn't happened.
I can't imagine even going to that.
Help me here, though.
That's just not my church.
It hasn't happened, or it was happened and was recorded or whatever. But it is. They have athletes walking it this year instead of supermodels. Is that?
I think
what
they have a
the
little bit of
thing
both
is?
because Bella Hadid has been having some health issues. She's a supermodel and she was there. They sprinkle in multiple different types of names, celebrities, supermodels.
But it hasn't aired yet. It'll air like.
Why do they call it?
aired.
Why do they call it secret fashion
Victoria's Secret.
Victoria's Secret. Oh, she really doesn't have a secret, does she?
Yes. And again, you can give us a call.
I think you were set up for that.
I had a secret for a long time. I just don't have it anymore.
713-440-8870. We did also get one over here that says, my current obsession, a text. My current obsession is Nosh Simple, a Texas-based prepared meal delivery service. And no, I don't work for them, and I am not being compensated to say this. We are a family of 2 full-time working parents with 2 young children. Nosh Simple helps me get a healthy meal on the table every night, much cheaper than takeout. I just want them to succeed because I don't know what I would do without them.
I'm going to try them. Have you ever tried them?
I am too, because that is, I feel like she's speaking to me in my language, or he's speaking to me.
Have you done those
it's
prepare
tough.
them yourself meal kits?
Yes.
I've not. Like all you add is chicken or something like that?
Well, not even that. They just send you the stuff, and then you have to usually add maybe some produce. But they send it all, and they send like just the right amount of seasoning, just the right amount of oil, so you don't have to be like, oh my God, I've got to make this recipe, but I need a 1/4 teaspoon of truffle oil, so I got to go buy a whole bottle of it. They send you just what you need to make the meal. It's supposed to make life easier.
Does it work? Have you done it?
Year, I've done it. One year, my mother-in-law for Christmas bought us all that, gave that as a gift, and it was great. Except sometimes the recipes get so involved that by the time you're sitting there,
How
it's
did
like,
Miss Gladys do them?
Okay, quick. What's your current obsession? We got like 1 minute left.
Oh my God.
AI slop.
Who?
AI slop. I'm really into it. It is terrible. It is low quality media that is basically made with generative AI, artificial intelligence, and I love them. It's bad. It like will show a piece of toast and then it'll show like diamonds being dropped on it, and then you spread it like butter. Okay. It's very odd. I don't know why I like it, but I'm obsessed with it.
Nikki writes us, says her current obsession is Amy Poehler's podcast, Good Hang, and Fate of Ophelia by Taylor Swift.
Yeah, everyone knows Ophelia committed suicide, right?
Well,
she
just
went
gave
crazy.
It away.
She went crazy and drowned herself.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I mean, if you've read Hamlet, you know what happened to Ophelia.
I have a really complicated obsession.
Okay,
but
you have 1 minute. Go.
But I think I may have to save it for next week because really quick. The movie series Halloween.
Sure.
Okay.
And the reason why is because there's so many different timelines. So you can be a purist and watch them all in order, or you can watch the original film, Halloween 2, and then what they call the Cult of Thorn timeline, which is 4, 5, and 6. You can watch the Laurie Survives timeline, which is 1, 2, 7, and 8. You can watch the Blumhouse trilogy, which is the original film, and then Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, Halloween Ends. Or you could just go watch the standalone film, Season of the Witch, Halloween 3. All of those are out there, and it fascinates me that this one original movie has spawned such different timelines. All things happen differently in them.
Okay, mine's simple.
Okay.
Shower heads.
You're in a new house. That's
well,
why.
we finally got ours that we've been waiting for 2 months to get, and I love it. But, in the meantime, I'm looking, shower heads are complicated.
They're complicated.
Yes, and you can get the wrong one.
You
and
get the handheld. You can get the
That's
the
why
rain.
I gave up showering.
It goes on and on. Anyway, shower heads. We got to go.
All right, we're out of time.
That wraps up our current obsession.
Is it Friday yet?
For the week. It's Friday Eve, people. And that brings us to the end of our show. We want to thank you for watching, listening, engaging to Hello Houston today. We will be back tomorrow with more conversations. Have a great Thursday. This is News 88.7.
Right now is a very important time. We are asking for your help and support to keep this service coming into your life, however you receive us, be it on radio, be it through podcasts, be it on YouTube. We're here for you wherever you are. The important thing right now is that when you make that donation to continue this service you depend on, it will be tripled. So right now you need to do nothing more than to stand up and give what you were going to give. Our organization will benefit 3 times over from your gift right now. Go to HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887.
Can you imagine if someone became a $1,200 studio donor?
I can imagine.
That would triple.
It would. What about a
$5,600?
one?
Well, yeah, that would. Whatever. Wow. I mean, $10 becomes $30, but $1,000 becomes $3,000. That'd be awesome.
Any amount we will receive.
But right now is the time to do it because it's triple day. We hear from so many listeners.
A triple hour.
Okay,
it's not all day. You've only got.
It's the next 1 minute then.
Yeah.
Do it
2.5 minutes.
Well, like this comment we just got. Thank you for all that you do, even with all these new challenges and hurdles. I'm thankful Houston can count on you all, and you can count on Houston Public Media, and that's why we are counting on you. HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate, or give us a call 888-909-0887.
And it's interesting, right? Because Houston Public Media, we have media as part of our name, but the truth is we are a mission. We are a service, and we are here to serve you. When it comes to our reporting, it is fact-checked. Even here on Hello Houston, after this show, we're going to go back and look and think about how we can be better for tomorrow. And that is for you. So go to HoustonPublicMedia.org/donate or call 888-909-0887. That's impact that you have when you support here this station. So join these voices today. Make your gift.
Thanks for listening to Hello Houston. Join us every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. to talk all things Houston. The Hello Houston production team includes Garrett Bowman, William Menjivar, Jen Altine, Todd Holslander, and Jim Kovacic. For the latest in local news, subscribe to the Hello Houston daily newsletter at HoustonPublicMedia.org. Hello Houston is a production of Houston Public Media. The opinions expressed by the guests of this program are solely their own and do not represent the views of management, staff, or underwriters of Houston Public Media.
You come to the New Yorker Radio Hour for conversations that go deeper with people you really want to hear from, whether it's Bruce Springsteen or Questlove or Olivia Rodrigo, Liz Cheney,